All right, and Ravi Joshi, who is a visiting fellow, Observer Research Foundation, is joining us live on this. Hi, Mr. Ravi. Thank you so much, first of all, for joining in on the broadcast. We just heard Donald Trump saying that he wants Iran to be a wonderful, great, happy country, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. Now, with high-stakes talks between both the nations, how do you analyze it? Is it just an exploratory session?
Yes, you're right in saying whether it's an exploratory talks. Yes, this is actually what is called as talks about talks.
Yeah.
There was a lot of uncertainty about these talks, whether it will happen as a direct talks or indirect talks. And finally, it now seems to be a direct talks because the Foreign Minister of Iran, Abbas Araghchi, has come and Steve Witkoff has come.
Yeah.
Steve Witkoff is much closer to Trump than his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, because Steve Witkoff is an old golf partner of Trump. And Trump trusts this man to be the troubleshooter, and he sends him to talk to Russia, talk to Ukraine, and talk to the West Asian leaders, and now he is talking to Iranian leaders. This is a surprising outcome, but actually, Siddharth, if you see the developments, how it has taken place in the last 1 week, it is very clear as to what exactly are Trump's motives and what are Israel's motives here. This announcement that Trump is going to have direct talks with Iran next weekend, that means today and yesterday, he announced it on April 7th, Monday, while having discussions with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the Oval Office. So obviously this did not come as a surprise to Benjamin Netanyahu, but it came as a surprise to the whole world. Because Benjamin Netanyahu, whenever he comes to Washington and White House, he comes to seek security guarantees for his country. And Trump has been an extremely close friend of Benjamin Netanyahu, even during his first term, and they have got along as like a house on fire. And this relationship was not exactly the same when President Obama or Biden were in the White House. So Netanyahu now feels that he can actually get Trump to manage his security problems in the region, in West Asia, by pushing Trump in the direction that he wants. So the biggest threat for Israel is actually Iran, the most important threat. So he has to neutralize Iran and its nuclear program. This has been his ambition for the last 10 years, or even more. And this is while Israel is having nuclear weapons, reportedly about 100 nuclear weapons. Now, Iran is a very important player in the region because it controls three important proxies which are creating trouble for Israel. The Hamas in Gaza, the Hezbollah in Lebanon, and the Houthis, who are creating trouble for Saudi Arabia, another great partner of America. So by winning over Iran or by having peace talks with Iran and neutralizing its proxies, Trump will be achieving a major tectonic change in the West Asian region. This will benefit not only Israel, it will also benefit Saudi Arabia. So this is the background of this talks which are happening today.
Sir, also we were talking about direct and indirect talks. There was perhaps a dispute over just how the negotiation would go. Trump insisted there'll be direct negotiations. However, Iran's foreign minister said he would be speaking indirectly through a mediator to US, Middle East convoy, Witkoff. I would like to ask you that what impact would direct and indirect negotiations make according to you?
Well, indirect talks would mean that Oman foreign minister would be the negotiator, and both Iran and US would seek the negotiator or the intermediary to act as their representative or as their moderator in the talks. But anyway, that is the immaterial now. That entire discussion is meaningless because Steve Witkoff, who is the right-hand man of Trump, is meeting Abbas Araghchi, and Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, has already declared that Abbas Araghchi is going to Oman with my full authority to negotiate a deal with US. So that now clearly rules out any indirect talks. It is direct talks. Now here I would like to add something more. what are the objectives of US and what are the objectives of Iran in going for a peace deal or a negotiation. Now, the best negotiated settlement between US and Iran and the P5+1 had actually come about in the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which was signed by President Obama and Obama's Secretary of State, John Kelly, and 5 other heads of states or their representatives in Vienna in 2015. That was the best possible deal which could have actually been worked out between US and Iran. What was the deal about? See, the deal said that Iran will first of all limit its uranium enrichment to 5% or below 5%, so that it will never reach nuclear enrichment, which would entail stockpiling of nuclear energy, nuclear refined fuel. Okay, so Iran agreed to that. Iran came down to saying that, okay, we will enrich our nuclear fuel only up to 3.6%, which is enough to produce electricity. That is what Iran's stated objective is. And Iran's supreme leader has repeatedly said that we do not want a nuclear weapon. We want a nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. Now, this was to be the case. Iran was to come down to 3.6% enrichment, and immediately America and the West were supposed to relax all the sanctions they had imposed on Iran.
Yes.
So that also started gradually happening. So they started, America unfroze the funds, that Iranian funds that were held in American banks, and the amounts were transferred. A substantial amount, about $500 billion were transferred during Obama's time to Iran. So slowly the relief from sanctions was coming to Iran. But then the elections happened in America, and Trump came to power in 2016, and soon after that,
he pulled out of the deal.
Yeah, he pulled out. He tore up the JCPOA. Okay, so now we are back to square one.
Yeah.
Now he wants a peace deal with Iran, but already Iran has breached the limits set upon its own nuclear enrichment. It has gone up to 60%. It is now enriching uranium at 60%, which is very close to the bomb material, which is 90%. So even now, it is still well within the medical research definition. It has not gone up to the bomb level, which is what Netanyahu has been telling. But the breakout time, the time required for Iran to produce enough nuclear fuel to make a bomb and to have a weaponized nuclear weapon, which is deliverable, is still 1 to 2 years. It is not, though Netanyahu says it has now come down to a few months. So the West believes Netanyahu, but Iran has its own reasons to say that we are nowhere near the breakout time. So that is the present state of play between US and Iran. And if US and Iran actually come to a peaceful, negotiated settlement on Iran's nuclear program and stop it or reduce the enrichment level, it will be a great achievement. It will be a significant game changer in the region. It will enable Iran to have good relations with Saudi Arabia, UAE, and also possibly to reduce tensions between Iran and Israel.
Okay.
So, anything more, Siddharth?
Yeah, sir, definitely. We leave it there, sir. Thank you so much for joining in on this broadcast.